Hi, everybody, and welcome to video session 4 for our 21-day sugar detox. And we are in our last week of 21-day sugar detox. So I am so glad that you are here. I believe everybody's going to be watching via recording. Some were out of town and others had some other things come up, but that's okay. I'm recording it, and so you can watch this whenever it's convenient for you. All right. So I hope you have had a good week with week 3. And we are in day 17. Yay! Can you believe it? We are on the home stretch, right? We only have 4 more days to go. I hope that you are motivated to keep on going and you're going to continue and finish strong. Just remember, we can do this, right? And I'm here to help you, and you can post in our Facebook group or just message me or text me, and I'll be happy to talk to you. All right, so we're going to talk about after the detox, what now? We're going to focus in on post-detox, what that means, mindset, setting new goals, and how to stay motivated. And so today we're going to cover some success stories and also what to expect each day. We're going to talk about mindset versus willpower. Going to review the reintroduction of foods. I talked about it in video session 3, so last week, so you can go back and watch that as well, but I'll go into it today also. And how you can be successful in post-detox and beyond, what foods you may want to add in, include, how to reintroduce, and which ones you may want to avoid. We're going to talk about primary versus secondary foods, if you have any new goals, and then any questions. And of course, this is our last video session. So I want you to think about this, what success have you had? I know I've had people calling me and texting me, and, some people it's been easy, some people it's been kind of rough, some have been up and down, and all of that is perfectly normal. I want you to know that. I've done this for a number of years, and everybody has felt what you've been feeling. So don't think that you're abnormal in what you've been feeling. But really, think about what has worked for you this week, what's worked for you for the past 2.5 weeks. Are there any foods maybe that you really have liked that have seemed to treat your body well, so you don't have a lot of the symptoms you had before we began? Maybe there's some foods that didn't work well for you. What was surprising, and how can you prepare for post detox week? I'll just give you an example. For me, I normally don't eat a lot of nuts because I found out over the years, because of my autoimmune issues, that nuts can cause my joints to hurt more. They can also cause me to have more bloating. It seems like I gain more weight and I just don't feel as good. Well, the 21-day sugar detox, as you know, a lot of the recipes do have more nuts on it. So I have found that the last 2.5 weeks, I've probably eaten more nuts, and I've noticed a little bit that my joints were kind of flaring more the last few days. And I thought, oh, you know what? I ate the granola a good bit and things like that. So it's not that they're bad for you, but for my body, they're triggering a little bit. So you got to kind of pay attention. That's why it's really good to write your symptoms down in your journal so you can go back and kind of see the pattern. And like I mentioned in week 1, if you need me to help you kind of figure out the patterns, I'm pretty good at that. And that's one thing I do with my private clients as well. So food journaling is really important to help you figure out what's triggering your symptoms, even if it's a few days later, okay? So also, let's dig a little bit deeper into, and I hope you have gotten a wealth of information. Our daily guidebook, of course, this one that I believe everybody has, this one has been really good. I've also been including in your daily emails just a quick, it's like anywhere from 2 to 4 minute video by the author, Diane, and it covers kind of what we're talking about that day, but sometimes the videos are help if you're kind of a visual person. But she goes into detail about sugar and what are nutrient poor carbs versus nutrient healthy carbs. Um, and she goes into how sleep and digestion and mood and your thinking skills are affected by sugar and kind of the simple carbs versus the complex carbs that we've been focused on. So think about how you've been feeling. Has the time and energy involved in avoiding the sugars and the poor carbs been stressful? And I know they have for some of you because you've reached out to me. And, you know, if you haven't been used to meal planning, prepping, and having to do some more cooking at home, that may create a little bit of stress. However, ask yourself this question: how does this temporary stress compare to the feeling of sugars and carbs controlling you? You know, and some of your symptoms like the headaches, the weight issues, the belly bloat, the, you know, feeling like you're addicted, the foggy thinking, and so forth. So you kind of want to weigh temporary stress versus the stress and maybe the thought of being unwell in the future, right? And how are you going to prevent food from controlling you in the future? Because I know a lot of you, that was one of the things, you were tired of sugar calling your name in the middle of the night. So how are you going to keep that from happening? All right. And what foods are you going to start reintroducing in? And how are you going to do that? And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay, let's dig into mindset. I know we have talked about this several times, but I hope you know that the reason why is because it is so important. Okay. Um, some people say, oh, I must be a weak person if I actually needed this detox program and I couldn't do it alone. I want you to know that is absolutely not true. We all need connections. The Lord knew we needed connections, right? Even Jesus had the 12 disciples and he had three he was close to. You know, if he needed close friends, we need close friends and we need people to support us. So don't think that you're weak at all. And we all have to reach out for help. I do in various areas of my life, and I know you do in other areas. So just don't think about that from a negative perspective. Think about it from a positive, that you realized you needed help and you reached out, right? And so we've talked about the successes in this program were the meal planning, the prepping, and the mindset, right? And that's going to carry on after the detox is over, just for the rest of your life as well. Okay. Um, and we've talked about the growth versus the fixed mindset. You know, growth mindset says, oh, I can step up to challenges. I can learn new things no matter how old I am, what season of life I'm in. I can try new things, right? Even if I don't get them completely perfect at first, which I've never said that anybody will, myself included, that I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to do my best. And failure just means an opportunity to grow. Whereas the fixed mindset person says, oh, I'm never going to learn anything new. I can't do this. I was born knowing such and such, and I can never learn anything new. And if I get frustrated, I'm just going to give up. So we, of course, want to have the growth mindset. And I think really you realize that that is more of a joyful, more positive mindset that really we want to carry on just in every area of our life, right? Now, why isn't willpower enough to kick cravings? The reason why is because sugar is so strong. It's a physiological, it's emotional, and it's a mental addiction, right? And that's because of the dopamine, that neurotransmitter that gives us that pleasure and reward. And God created that for good reasons, but it's when we allow things that aren't healthy for us and we put them up on a pedestal, so to speak, and we keep feeding that, then that's what is going to keep calling to us, right? And so our body wants to have reward and joy and pleasure, and those are good things, but we want to pick healthy things for that, right? Now, you can learn new habits. We can train our brain, we can train our mind, and we can train ourselves to have new habits, but it does take some work and discipline and commitment. And I think you've seen that over the past 2.5 weeks, right? So, it's a lot easier if we say, well, I've got ice cream in the freezer. I need to finish it all off. What's harder is to say, you know what? I've had a bowl. Everybody in the family has a bowl. We have some left over, but I know that if it stays here, I'm going to eat the rest of the gallon. So I'm going to throw it out, or I'm going to give it to my next door neighbor or whatever. Okay. I have done this. I have washed ice cream down the sink because I didn't want it to call my name, right? Tomorrow, when I've decided tomorrow's when I'm not going to have any more. Okay. So it's making some of those harder choices, and it's figuring out what's going to be better for us in the long run, right? Now, is it easier to go through a drive-through than doing some meal planning and prepping and actually cooking? Yes, it probably is. But is that going to help your health long term? Now, occasionally, yeah, that's fine. We all do that, right? But you're going to save yourself some money, and you're going to save some money right now, and you're going to save yourself money on health expenses in the future if you do learn to eat healthier, right? So try not to eat out more than 1 to 2 times a week, and you can pick healthier choices. I hope that you have seen this as well. And so just remember, you can continue by reading your food labels, and, read the back of the containers, even things that you're used to picking up that were healthy. You need to check them periodically because manufacturers do change the ingredients. Okay. And one of my favorites, don't forget this when you're cooking, cook once, but eat twice or 3 times, right? Double your recipe, and you can even freeze it for next week. Okay, and we covered this briefly last week. I hope you got a chance to read the article that I included in one of the emails. If not, her name is Gretchen Rubin, Rubin, and all you have to do is Google her name with moderator or abstainer, and it'll give you this information. But I think it's really good. She's talking about if you're a moderator or an abstainer in life, and it's applicable to us, and talking about healthy eating. And, if you're a moderator, you can eat just one small bite or a small portion. It's easy for you to replace treats with healthy alternatives. You consider yourself, oh, I've got willpower. It doesn't really bother me. And I'll have an occasional indulgence. And, but there are some people who do better being an abstainer, and those are the ones who are unable to eat just one bite of their favorite food, whether that's savory or dessert. If the treats are at home, they're going to eat them. It's impossible to resist, right? They consider themselves as having no willpower, and they have trouble stopping once they start, but they're not tempted if they decide something's off limits. So whichever one you fall into, there's no right or wrong. It's just kind of your personality, the way you were hardwired. But knowing it can help you set up your environment better, right? If you do need to have treats in your house for family members or whatever, maybe you can put them in some kind of like a shoebox or an opaque container that you can't see through, and that way it's not going to tempt you. Or put it on a shelf that you don't see, all the time. Put it in a drawer in your refrigerator, somehow or another, so that you're not tempted by it, and hopefully your loved one will kind of understand that as well. If you're a moderator, it doesn't bother you, well, that's pretty easy. It's the abstainers that it's a little bit more challenging, but there are ways that you can set yourself up for success. Okay. Okay, let's review the reintroduction of foods. So in your daily guide, it's pages 90 through 103. Let me make sure that's correct. I'm not thinking that that's right. Let me just double check. Yeah, that is right. Okay. So that's going to be talking about your first day post detox. And like I said, that's going to be like Sunday is our last day. That's the 21 days. Monday, the 29th, which happens to be Memorial Day, is the first day of detox. So that's day 22, right? So on that day, what is going to help you more than anything is you reintroduce one food that you really like or that you've been kind of missing, and preferably one that's not super inflammatory. Okay, so like berries of any kind are a lot better to reintroduce, and I know we kind of were doing maybe a half a cup of blueberries because they're very low sugar, so you may decide you want some strawberries. They're in season now, or you could do raspberries or blackberries or more of the blueberries, or if you want. Um, so I know it's hard because you've been without your favorite foods for 3 weeks, but please don't just jump in on day 22 and go on a sugar binge and eating all kinds of barbecue and savory fruit foods and gluten and all. The reason why is your body and mind are going to hate you that later that day or the next day. You're going to have headaches, you're going to have tummy aches, you're just going to feel fatigued, you're not going to feel well. So take some baby steps. You have put in hard work, right, over the last 3 weeks. So take baby steps when you reintroduce. So this is the ideal way to do it. And there's different ways. But on day 22, you reintroduce like the berries, and then you note down in your daily guide, you note down any symptoms you might be having regarding like your energy or mood, maybe skin, maybe you get a rash or something, your digestion, maybe it doesn't feel right, whether you're able to have good elimination, maybe your sleep is affected, or, maybe you're just very teary or moody. Write that down if you're feeling that way, okay? And in the guide on 91, she kind of gives ways to introduce it, like starting with the berries, then go with the sweeter fruits, then maybe a dark chocolate, then maybe some gluten-free whole grains, and then maybe the glutinous grains if you want. But it's eaten on day 22, one food. Day 23, don't eat anything new. Don't even eat the berries. Then day 24, you reintroduce another one. Day 25, you don't, and so forth. So you're skipping a day to give your body, like, 24 to 48 hours to see if any symptoms come. I will be honest with you, some people are so super sensitive that they could feel symptoms up to 72 hours, even 4 days later after they ate something. That's why food sensitivity is a slow process. But I'm going to tell you that I know that's hard. My very first time of doing this, I didn't do that. I was so tired of it. I was ready. Now, I don't eat gluten or dairy anyway, but I really wanted my dark chocolate. And on day 22, I reintroduced two or three. Then day 23, I think I added the dark chocolate. And anyway, I didn't feel real good at the end of the week. So I'm just telling you, I'm trying to keep you from having that. I don't want you to go back to having the cravings. That was one of the big reasons why everybody started. So go slow. And if you do eat something, do a smaller portion on, you can have it at 2 times to 3 times that day, but don't do a great big bowl of it, okay? And you're going to be much happier that way, okay? All right, now this is recommended by our author of our book, Diane. And, I tend to agree just because I know how foods are and their addiction. Okay. So, in general, it's better not to reintroduce your gluten foods. And those are the wheat, rye, barley, and spelt. Now, I know that's the typical bread and pasta. However, I will say that if you are wanting to reintroduce it, don't have it every day. Just maybe say you're going to limit it to once or twice a week if you end up doing that. Just because the gluten that is now made in the United States has a whole lot of chemicals, pesticides. It's not pure like when our great great grandparents made it. And it's even not as pure as over in Europe because they have some more stringent laws and all. But we have a whole lot of things on it that can cause problems in your digestive system with autoimmune issues, with hormones, and so forth. Other foods are like the refined sugars, and I don't think I need to say anything about that. That's what we've been learning about this whole time. Having that every single day is not going to be beneficial to your body, right? And it's going to cause those cravings to come back. Um, Artificial sweeteners, the saccharin and the Equal and Splenda and those. We'll talk about which ones that are better for you in a few minutes. Um, the foods that have a whole lot of ingredients. So it's better to stick with foods that when you read the ingredient label, it has 5 to 6, maybe 7 or 8, but ones that have a whole lot of ingredients, I can almost guarantee you they're going to have a whole lot of chemicals, pesticides, dyes, and all that. And it may not be the food that you end up being sensitive to, but it could be some of those chemicals. So it's better to try to avoid those or limit those. And then the addictive foods. And most of these, the ice cream, candy, cookies, the cake, the French fries, sodas, chips, donuts, pizza, fried chicken, and chocolate. But I hope by now you have learned that there are healthier ways to prepare these. I even included a fried chicken recipe last week for you, but there's healthier ways to prepare your favorite foods as well. Okay, so the refined sugars, you know, refer to page 109 that has the hidden names for sugar, and there are over 50 names. And so the manufacturers will sneak those in several times. And so that way it doesn't have to be high up on the list of ingredients, because we know that the ingredients that are the top three have the greater percentage in that food product, right? But if they break up sugar into doing maybe a high fructose corn syrup, maybe molasses, maybe an agave, maybe things like that, they can spread that out and make it lower in the list to kind of fool you. Now, the high fructose corn syrup is really not good for anybody. This I just thought was unbelievable. Consumption of and you see it as HFCS, or high fructose corn syrup, on packages. The consumption actually increased 1,000% between 1970 and 1990. And that's because the manufacturers found out that they need it in processing. It helps the foods taste better. It's addictive, so people want to buy it more. Okay. And so it is made from corn, and we do know that corn is one of the top allergenic foods out there. It also has a tendency to have more mold. And so a lot of people have problems with it and they don't really realize. But the high fructose corn syrup can lead to obesity, diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, heart disease, leaky gut, which can cause like IBS and colitis symptoms, even fatty liver disease. And some have even said that it also can promote the spread of cancerous cells as well. Okay. So the artificial sweeteners, like aspartame, that's Equal and NutraSweet, saccharin, that's sweet and low, that's the pink one, and sucralose, which is the yellow Splenda. Those can cause headaches and joint problems and a lot of GI issues, like more gas and bloating. And they can even cause some mood issues. I know years ago when I tried those, they caused me to have bad headaches. I had fuzzy thinking, mood issues, and some digestive issues. Um, Now, the OSE words, the ones that end in OSE, like sucrose, maltose, lactose, fructose, and dextrose, those mean sugar. So if you see those on a package, that should alert you, oh, this has some kind of sugar in it, okay? And that can cause digestive issues and headaches and some of the other symptoms that we talked about. So what sweeteners can you use? Okay. Well, look on page 109, and she does talk about natural sweeteners that, you can have that are healthier for you. And so my two of my favorites are really the stevia and the monk fruit. You may see it as Luahan Go, and I'm probably messing up the pronunciation of that, but you may see it that way. This one that I get is like in a powder form. They do have it in liquids as well, Be sure you check the back of any of your packages of stevia or monk fruit or whatever you're using, because there are a lot out there now that have a combination of erythritol and other things. And the sugar alcohols that end in the OL, like the erythritol, mannitol, xylitol, and maltitol, those some people tolerate well. Those are like in Swerve, and even Lily's chocolate has erythritol and stevia in it now. But some people, it causes digestive issues, a lot of gas and belly bloating and some headaches. So, you can try it out and see. I don't tolerate them, so I can't use any of these, but I do well with stevia and monk fruit. Now, I do occasionally will use coconut sugar and turbinado sugar. They do have some nutritional value. However, they are sugar. So they're going to do to your body what sugar does. The same with like pure honey, pure maple syrup, and blackstrap molasses. They do have minerals and some nutritional value, but they are going to cause your blood sugar levels to rise. And the same with dates and bananas and real fruit jam. One reason why we've been doing the green bananas is they don't cause the fluctuation in your blood sugar quite as much, right? But if you eat a ripe one, it's going to have a little bit higher sugar. So just be cautious. You're going to have to figure out what works, for your body. Okay, what are some keys to success in the future? Well, stay away from foods you've overeaten in the past. If you have a trigger food, it's better to just stay away. I know that I do have trigger foods. The chocolate, milk chocolate tends to bother me, even dark chocolate. So I try to, if I have it in the house, have smaller portions. So I use it in a recipe, or, it's gone within a few days. Otherwise, I'm going to overeat them. So you probably have your own. You know what? Use fresh herbs, spices, and sweeter vegetables to trick your taste buds. I hope you found like cinnamon and vanilla really do have a sweeter taste, and that can kind of help as well. And the sweeter veggies, like the butternut squash and sweet potatoes and carrots, those sometimes can trick your taste buds when you're craving. You eat those, and then you won't reach for the cake or cookie. Make sure any meals or snacks, you want to keep your blood sugar balance and keep the cravings away. So if you haven't learned anything else in the last 2.5 weeks, I hope you know this. For all meals and snacks, combine protein, healthy fat, a good quality complex carb, and fiber. And that's going to help you with your blood sugar, and keep your cravings away and keep you full. And please continue doing meal planning. It doesn't have to be as detailed as we did on this one. And most people eat the same 7 to 14 different meals, like for dinner anyway. So you can just rotate, right? That'll make it easier. And you could keep 2 or 3 breakfasts and lunch that you like and rotate it. Just make it easy for you, and then you won't stop doing it. Portion sizes are very important, and I hope you've kind of learned. In yesterday's email, I did include some ways to kind of remember that, like a cupped palm is about a half a cup, and your thumb is about 2 ounces, like for cheese amount, and the palm of your hand or a deck of cards is about 3 to 4 ounces of protein. But sometimes it's easier to have those in mind, and that way it's easier when you're going out to eat, or even if you're sitting down, oh, I don't need to eat 8 ounces of meat, right? That's way too much. So if you're out to eat and they bring you an 8 ounce piece of meat, whether it's chicken or steak or even a burger, you can say, you know what, bring me a box and I'm going to cut it in half right now. And then I know that I'll stop when this is done, and then I'll have a meal when I get home, right? Um, One thing, I find a lot of women over 40, they tend to not eat breakfast. Maybe they wake up, they're not real hungry. Maybe they're a little bit nauseous or whatever. But I do know that if you don't eat breakfast, but you have a tendency to overeat as the day goes on, try eating breakfast, even if it's a light breakfast, and even if it's a little later, like 8 or 9-ish. And that can help you start filling up your body so that you have enough energy, so you're not going to have cravings later in the day. Getting outside in sunshine and nature first thing in the morning is great. It just helps reset our body's clock. It also gives you kind of a mood lift so you don't reach for maybe a sweet pastry for breakfast. And the sunshine is really good for your vitamin D levels, right? Get adequate sleep. That's one of the sleep and stress are two of the big reasons why we overeat, right? We think we're hungry when we're really tired because we didn't get enough sleep, or we think we're hungry and we really are stressed out because we're worried or anxious about something coming up. And be sure you do give yourself time to have some self-care and relax and rest and spiritual health. This is a biggie that we all need to incorporate in our daily lives. And along those lines, are you really hungry for food on your plate? You know, sometimes we eat because we're really hungry for food, and so we need to eat food on our plate. But other times we really are not wanting that food. We are really wanting what we call primary food, okay? And that primary food is like the need or desire, such as we're lonely and we want relationships, or maybe, you know, we're wanting to get closer to the Lord. Maybe we're wanting a new career or a new purpose in life. Maybe we need some movement. We're just physically feeling kind of sluggish, you know. Maybe we really need some relaxation, right? Maybe we need to take a vacation, okay? You know, we might not be fulfilled or happy in one of these areas, and then we'll reach for the food on our plate to distract us from really what's bothering us. And then we talked about this. I can't remember if that was in week 1 or week 2, but you can ask yourself, this acronym is a good one, HALT-B. Are you really hungry, physical hunger, or are you angry or anxious? Are you lonely? Are you tired? Are you sad or stressed? Are you bored? You know, if it's not true physical hunger and then you eat food on your plate, you're really not going to be satisfied, right? I mean, I found that myself. I'm hoping that you know what I'm talking about, right? So you want to identify what you're really feeling and satisfy it with the solution to that actual need, okay? And remember, a well-balanced life consists of all these areas, not just the physical food. All right, let's talk about what do we have going on this week. So the rest of this week, we are in day 17 right now, and you might be thinking, oh, are we there yet? I'm so ready for this to be done. But hang in there. We only have 4 more days, right? Day 18, you may be going, okay, I'm in the home stretch. What's going on now? Day 19, it's so funny this day. People say, okay, I'm close enough, right? Okay, I can just go ahead and eat whatever I want. But I'm going to tell you, just hold off. Don't do it that day. Just honor your commitment for the 21 days, and you're going to be really proud of yourself, okay? And then on day 20, you may be thinking, oh my goodness, on day 22, I'm going to eat everything I want. I'm going to eat cake and ice cream and cookies. I'm going to eat, you know, a wrap or a sandwich and all that. But remember what we talked about earlier, you want to go slow because your body and your mind are not going to like it. Day 21, you're going to be so ecstatic, but hang in there. Don't eat that day. Wait till the next day. And then on day 22, I hope you're going to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to be patient and I'm going to reintroduce food slowly. So if you have enjoyed working with me in this group program, and I hope you have, because I've enjoyed it and y'all have helped encourage me as well. But if you feel like you've gotten help, but you think that you have some other goals to work on, or you just want to continue with these, you're not ready to stop, please reach out to me. I love working one-on-one with people because we can really dig deeper into your specific goals, and I can help you set up some alternative ways and some other action steps for your specific needs that we weren't able to cover, you know, during this 3-week program. I have several different links of programs I can help you. I also am offering monthly or even one session at a session uh, consult for different people. And because you signed up for the program, you'll also get a discounted rate on that. And during the year, I offer other group programs as well. I'd also appreciate your referrals if you have any friends or family members that you recommend me to, if they're needing a health and wellness coach as well. And also, I'm doing some workshops, and if you have a group of people you want me to do a workshop with, or maybe your church, just please let me know on that as well. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the time that you've taken, and I appreciate the opportunity to help you. And just remember, you have 4 more days. Day 22, start slow. Reach out next week because I'll be glad to help you with the reintroduction. I also am going to be sending out on day 21. There's going to be an evaluation form link in there. I would really appreciate you completing it. It's not very long, and it just helps me know what you've enjoyed, and it'll give you an opportunity to let me know, if you have any suggestions for me to make it better next time. And remember, First Timothy 4:7 says, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. So remember that you are continuing in this fight and this race. And so finish strong. Okay. And so thank you so much for participating with me and with our group program. And make this a great day. Let me know if you need anything. Take care. Bye for now.